in recent times, we've seen that the Naira seems to be going down, you know, compared to what it used to be. I think now it's about 800 Naira in the international market, right? And in the official market rather, and about 1,000 plus in the unofficial market. So now, how would you say this fluctuation has impacted the exportation of cocoa?
Well, with cocoa being a major export for Nigeria, the increase in the exchange rate makes cocoa exporters very happy. You know, I'm sure they did make their projections for cocoa for them to sell their cocoa at about 800 Naira. You know, at 800 Naira. But that's the rate today, so that's the rate they have to receive, but they have to be paid for it.
Indeed. But what are the specific mechanisms, you know, and dynamics at play here? What exactly is going on? Just give us a brief understanding into how these prices impact the sector.
The price is not just it's not just brought down from the sky. It has to do relatively with the economy. We are getting dollars now at about 800 to 900 Naira. So that's what the cocoa has to be exported for. You know, something high, something that way, and so that they can buy their seeds and grow more. You know, yeah.
All right. Now, available data, you know, states that Nigeria was the largest producer of cocoa, the second largest, I beg your pardon, the second largest producer of cocoa in the world before the oil boom, you know, and they were producing about 420 tons of cocoa annually. But now there has been a decline because now Nigeria is now the fourth largest producers of cocoa, and of course due to so many factors. Now, how would you say, you know, how would you speak to the area of economic implication? What's the economic implication of this foreign exchange fluctuation on cocoa, on the export of cocoa?
Well, cocoa, the exchange rate has gone up, but we don't only export cocoa. There are other things we import into Nigeria, and those prices will go up too. It's just there's a correlation between our export and our import. So if our export is going up, then our imports will go up too. Okay, let's just see what we import into Nigeria now.
It's basically everything.
Yeah, whatever you import into Nigeria, the price will go up. So, and that means the price of a lot of things will go up, and that's how much of cocoa are we producing to get the increase to how much of cocoa are we producing, okay, to negate the increase the increase in the prices of other goods. That's what we have to see.
Indeed. So how does this affect our profitability? Because if we cannot export enough, because that is one of the sources of revenue, you know, to Nigeria, basically. Now, if we can't export enough due to the floating of the Naira, you know, what does that do to productivity generally and sustainability of this business or this sector?
Well, things are going to get more difficult. Things are going to get more, prices will increase. Prices will increase. The things you take for granted, that you think you are, even things that is manufactured in Nigeria, that is made in Nigeria, the price will go up because you have to, you cannot look at it in one perspective only. You have to look at it in a global perspective. If the price of cocoa goes up, and that's what we're exporting, fine. We have that advantage. But the other things we import into Nigeria, the price of those things will go up. You know, like the cocoa product we drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chocolate.
Yes. The price of those things will go up too. You know, it's a correlation.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there is this thing that has been bugging my mind. Nigeria produces cocoa. We even export it for revenue. How is it that we cannot by ourselves, you know, convert this cocoa fruits or you know, into chocolate? Because Nigeria imports 85% of its chocolate, and we are and those that even manufacture this chocolate, beverages and all of that, they are not even producers of cocoa. So they have to import cocoa and then convert it to chocolate and then sell back to Nigerians, sell back to countries that actually produce the raw material used in the production of these beverages. Speak to that. How, I mean, make it make sense. Let's understand.
Well, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to the average. But is there money to buy the machines?
Yes.
If somebody gives you...
What's it going to cost to have such innovations or such machines or whatever in the production of this? Anyway, there are a few companies, a few individuals looking to tap into this business. I mean, chocolate businesses are coming up every day because people are looking into that sector. But what can government do to encourage more people to look into this sector too, at least so we can have internal revenue instead of having to export most of these products and again, you know, have them imported back into the country?
The government has to put in place a means of them getting capital to buy the machines. Okay, so that it has to have a means of them. I know some of them might be difficult to get the capital, even if the government has to put a process in place to encourage people to import these machines that can make cocoa. But even if we put those in place, you have to look at it. You have to look at their methodology, how they will do the business, okay? And so that at the end, they have the machines and they can produce cocoa products. That's what they have to do. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's speak to risk management. What strategies and measures, you know, or practices generally can cocoa exporters adopt to mitigate the negative effect of Naira fluctuation?
Negative effect of Naira fluctuations?
Yes.
Well, it's for the individuals, they can have a buyback system with the person they're buying, that is buying from them, and have an agreement that they will sell to them and sell to them at certain price. And when that, hopefully that agreement doesn't expire too quickly. Okay, you have a buyback agreement with the producers or with the buyers of cocoa. You know, say you buy cocoa back from them, they will buy cocoa from you at $20 or something like that. Then you have to make sure you produce and you send cocoa to them at 20, so you don't take a loss. Okay? And when that is done, whatever you're buying offshore to bring back to Nigeria, or whatever, however they are sending your dollars back to you, you have to tie down the cost of that too, so that you don't lose along the line.
Along the line, yes. So now let's look at government policies. What role can the government actually, play, when it comes to supporting, supporting the idea of, addressing this challenge posed by foreign exchange fluctuation? What are the potential policies that you believe government can put in place to ensure that the Naira doesn't keep floating, that the fluctuation doesn't, the exchange rate fluctuation does not hit our economy here in Nigeria too extremely?
The government has to ensure that we produce a lot of the materials that we need in Nigeria. So we have to put more emphasis on production of raw materials in Nigeria itself. So when we send it out, we can't be producing something for 3 Naira. I want to sell it for 500 Naira. It doesn't make sense. So the government has to make sure that our production cost is low, kept low, and that we emphasize production of good materials at low cost.
At low costs. Could the government also, look into the area of investment, to get more businesses? Because there are so many people who have money in Nigeria, but are looking for businesses to actually, get involved in and thrive. Now, what do you think the government can do to encourage more people to invest in this business of cocoa production? And secondly, talking about infrastructure, what can government do? Because I listened to some farmers, those who produce this cocoa, what's it called? I was listening to a report, and they made me understand the fact that they have bad roads leading to their farms. And because of that, it is very difficult for them to, and of course that reduces their productivity, maximally. What can government do to encourage more farmers to go into cocoa production?
Well, it's to ensure that where they are producing cocoa, or where the process of producing cocoa, the cost doesn't increase maximally. The cost doesn't go up out of the roof. If the price remains largely at the base, then what happens is that the product itself will remain affordable to the average person buying it.
Okay, what about infrastructure?
Infrastructure. You have to put infrastructure in place so that the prices don't go up, so you don't spend a lot of money. Let's assume you have a cocoa warehouse. Okay, the warehouse itself, you build a warehouse. That's the original cost. You have to make sure that warehouse it's kept okay, so that you don't have to bring in 500 million or 100.
Yes, I'm not even talking about just storage. I'm talking about these farmers, the farmers who actually plant these cocoa seeds and then sell them to people who, to other people who intend to purchase it and all of that. That's, of course, also exports the same cocoa product. Now, what can the government do to encourage them? Because from that report, I see that many of them are even tired of the business because of the low return on investment due to the fact that they can't even get access to their farms because of the bad roads. They have to spend so much trying to transport themselves from their houses to where their farms are. So what can government do to encourage this set of people so that we can keep having cocoa you know, for export.
The local government can make sure the roads are okay to the farms. Because not only the cocoa farmers that would drive on the roads to the farm, other farmers will drive, other people will use the roads to go home and everything. So make sure the roads are okay, so that when the cocoa farmer drives on the road to the farm, gets to the farm, gets his product, and comes back into the city to export it out.
What do you think Nigerians can do, basically? Because one other factor was the fact that we have cocoa trees that are too old to produce, you know, substantial cocoa products and all that. What do you think we can do better to ensure that we have more cocoa? Because Nigeria, we have many states that produce this particular commodity, cocoa. There are many states like that in the south, in the west, even in the east, and in the north as well. Now, what can government do to look into this sector to ensure that, you know, more people can plant good cocoa seeds so that we can export quality cocoa produce and get better revenue from it?
You're looking at how to increase cocoa production in Nigeria. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying, actually, how to increase cocoa production in Nigeria. It's basically the same way you are if you have to increase any other product in Nigeria. It's the same thing you do is focus on where you're going to get your product from, and have enough money to buy the seeds so you can grow them. After you grow them, then you harvest them. After you harvest them, then you will you sell them out.
Right, sir. Now, let's look at global market dynamics. What are the impacts of the foreign exchange fluctuation on the competitiveness of this production of cocoa to other parts, the exportation of cocoa? What is the dynamics, the global dynamics? How can we stand toe-to-toe with other countries that produce cocoa, you know, given the circumstances of our Naira fluctuation?
I think we stand a good chance of competing against other local growers of cocoa because, one, we have enough raw materials. We have to buy cocoa seeds and we grow them, and we have a structure in place. The Ministry of Agriculture has a structure in place to you know, to help them with that regards. Okay? Once that is done, it's just for us to focus on growing cocoa and say we are going to be a leader in cocoa. Once we put our fist down and say we're going to be a leader in cocoa, then everything falls in place.
Okay.
You know?
All right, so now let's look at demand and supply. Demand and supply, you know, how can we increase the demand for cocoa products, you know, here in Nigeria?
Well, I don't think it's easy for us to just increase the demand for cocoa products. It's for us to grow it and then see how we're going to export it out to the countries that need the cocoa products the most. If cocoa is a viable product in the international market, which it is,
yes, it is.
Okay, then we'll grow it and we sell to the international market.
Now, do you think this would bring about any shifts? The fact that we don't, how do I say this? The fact that we don't have so much cocoa, for export. Do you think this would also bring about a shift in consumer preferences and market trends? How do these factors influence cocoa export?
Well, if we increase the productivity of cocoa, then people will start to find out what they want to do with cocoa. If cocoa is cheap and it's available, people will find something to do with it. And that's where the production of, that's where our usage of cocoa will increase. Okay?
All right. Now let's look at currency hedging strategies. Of course, such as insurance. Now, what currency hedging strategies can cocoa producers or exporters employ to manage the foreign exchange risk they encounter?
Well, to manage a foreign exchange risk it's not as complicated as it appears to be. Okay, you can increase. You can determine. You can put in place, okay, processes to ensure that the cocoa prices doesn't get to certain levels. If it gets to that level, then you have to.
Okay, so how effective are these strategies? How effective are they really in trying to, limit the challenges that occur due to the Naira floating? How do we really go about it? What strategies? How effective are these strategies? Have they worked in time past? Is it something we can adopt now, and would it still work now?
To work now. In our strategies. What you have to look at is your production, to make sure your production levels are up and it can meet the demand. So that when people ask you, come to your door and knock on your door, they're looking for cocoa, you can give them.